There's controversy regarding the celebration of Team USA. So there's Kash Patel. Kash Patel said this: unity, sacrifice, attitude, what it takes to be the best in the world. Men, live it and breathe it. Yeah. All right. So he was there in Milan, Italy, celebrating with team hockey. I've heard that Kash Patel actually played hockey before, and he's very invested in hockey. So he really likes hockey. And cool. That's good on Kash Patel. All that is well and good, but you know, this is how he was partying with Team USA, and it went really viral. Like him just chugging beers with the boys. So it's like they're just celebrating, they're having a good time, and the internet's torn right now. The internet's torn right now. The left wing is saying, what the frick are you doing? This is unacceptable. How dare you go to Milan, Italy on the taxpayer's dime? That is unacceptable. This is the biggest controversy, such corruption. And then a lot of people on the right are saying, what's the big deal? This is not a problem. He's just celebrating with the boys after winning an ice hockey game. Can a man not celebrate? And Kash Patel, this is his response. For the very concerned media, yes, I Love America was extremely humbled when my friends, the newly minted gold medal winners on Team USA, invited me into the locker room to celebrate this historic moment with the boys. Greatest country on earth and greatest sport on earth. So, yes, fine, cool. I don't have a problem with that. And here's my nuanced take. I know, crazy. I have a nuanced take. And a lot of people can't understand nuance on the internet. And whatever, it is what it is. But in a time of controversy, sometimes I'll have a nuanced take that I'll piss off the left, and I'll even piss off people on the right. I'm not here to tickle your ears. I'm not here to give you what you want to hear. I'm here to give you the truth and also my opinion. And if you don't like my opinion, that's okay. That's okay. You can disagree. But people freaked out on me as well. That my response was, okay, like, bro, do your job. You're the director of the FBI. You can chug beers with the boys once you made some arrests for the files and crack down on violent left-wing anarchists terrorizing American cities. And so, here's the thing. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing actually bad about him going to Milan, Italy. He had work to do there. He was meeting with security personnel, things like that. I get it. What FBI director is going to do what the FBI director does. So I don't agree with the left-wingers who are saying, this is such corruption. How dare you go to Italy on a taxpayer's dime? Dude, it didn't cost that much for him to go to Italy, okay? It wasn't a huge spend from the budget that had him go to Italy. It's fine. Whatever. It is what it is. There's nothing wrong with him chugging beers and cracking a cold one with the boys after they won gold in ice hockey in the Olympics for the first time in 46 years. Cool. That's all fine. My whole thing is, Kash, what have you done? What are you doing? Aside from the few, like, hundreds of arrests that you've made that the FBI just makes every year anyways, like, how come there isn't a decrease in left-wing and terrorism? There's only an increase in left-wing violence and anarchy. We literally had someone with a shotgun and a fuel can go attack Mar-a-Lago yesterday, 2 nights ago. That is literally like 4 assassination attempts on Trump already. What are we doing to secure Americans from left-wing extremists? Left-wing terrorists and anarchists are mobilizing and organizing on internet forums publicly and on college campuses and cities. They are organizing acts of terrorism and violence. What are you doing? Why is there no crackdown? Seriously, why is there no crackdown? There's nothing happening. Why aren't big, major arrests or investigations happening into the Epstein files? You went in. Before you became FBI director, you're talking about, I'm going to go into the FBI and I'm going to expose all of them. What have you done? What have you done? And I think the Epstein files, a lot of it is low-hanging fruit. It's low-hanging fruit for a lot of people who don't understand how these things work. Does it excuse the satanic billionaire pedophile elites who run this country? No, There is grave evil and disturbing things found in these emails and newly released files. Yes, but nothing's happening. No arrests are being made. And they're like, oh, what arrests are supposed to be made? That's what the investigations are supposed to be. But there's clear evidence of wrongdoing and impropriety of criminal activity, and nothing's happening. Nothing's happening. All things take time. Sure, things take time, but then it's not a good look when you're partying up in Milan, Italy, while the American public, a large reason of why they voted you into office, Trump, and they voted Kash Patel, and they're expecting Kash Patel to do something, is because you guys said, we will go after and expose all of the Epstein corruption. And I'm not saying you have to do it in one day, but yeah, it's not a good look when you're chugging up beers and cracking cold ones with the boys. You're constantly doing podcast tours and news hits, Kash Patel, while there seems to be no accountability for what happened to many, many young girls, and how so many elites and rich people and powerful people in society can get away with criminal activity. We're sick of the two-tiered, even the three-tiered justice system that exists in this country, that exists to protect corrupt, disgusting, atrocious elites in this country. We're sick of it. And so, nothing wrong with celebrating. I don't agree with the left-wingers who are like, that's so wrong that he was on the taxpayer dime and celebrating. There's nothing wrong with that. But come on, man. Like, read the room. Read the room. And so, Eric Spraglin, America, please arrest the pedophiles, Kash Patel. And that's the problem that I have. Oh, while he's working, is he not allowed to have a good time or celebrate at all? No, I'm not saying that. Like, he needs rest for sure. But it seems like he's always on a podcast tour with his girlfriend. He's doing news hits, he's always talking, he's barking up a tree, talking a big talk. Nothing gets done. And then nothing gets done. So, and these arguments are true, and I get it. They're valid. Libs of TikTok. Kash Patel celebrating USA hockey team historic win. Democrat senator sipping margaritas with a foreign gang member and alleged human trafficker and wife beater. Guess which Democrats are more upset over? Yeah. I mean, there's tons of times that Barack Obama was drinking beer and celebrating. Tons of times that Democrats were, it's the reasoning for the left's outrage about Kash Patel is really retarded, and it is unfounded. But here, and they're right to point out this hypocrisy. Kash Patel in 2023, he said this.
And I'm not saying take all their funding. I'm not the defund everything guy. I'm just saying Chris Wray doesn't need a government-funded G5 jet to go to vacation. Maybe we ground that plane. $15,000 every time it takes off. Just a thought.
Minimum.
So it's easy to point out the hypocrisy because I don't like these people. I'm not trying to give credence to the left. But yeah, like, you can't criticize a previous FBI director for going on vacations and using taxpayer funds to do so. And then you also did so in Italy. Now, yes, you had official work to do, sure, but it's seemingly to the American public, you have to understand how this comes off. And it seems like you are just using your role as the FBI director to go and party up in Italy and have a vacation in Italy on the taxpayer dime, when you are in that position in order to arrest criminals and crack down on heinous crimes, criminal gangs, criminal organizations, terrorist networks. And it just seems like nothing is being done. Pistano, what's going on? How's it going? So that's my nuanced take, okay? That's my nuanced take. Here's Dennis Michael Lynch also said, were they as mad over Obama's extravagant Africa trips costing $100 million, or the 4 a.m. White House party with celebrities or Holder running guns to Mexico? Yeah, and so, yes, the Democrats have selective outrage. Yes, that's true. But we can't get sucked in to this constant, yes, there's a time and place to dunk on the Democrats and the libs. I do it all the time. But regarding this controversy, you can't miss the forest for the trees. Or is it that you can't miss the trees for the forest? No, it's you can't miss the forest for the trees. You can't, you are so in the weeds about fighting against the left and the Democrats and owning the libs and the libtards, which, yes, they're libtards. But you're so focused on that you're missing the broader point. That there are people in my replies pissed off. Oh, this is such a nothing burger. Why are you so pissed? I'm not pissed at Kash Patel for celebrating with the USA ice hockey national team. I'm not. There's nothing wrong with celebration and and boys just having a good time. There's nothing wrong with that. The problem is, while he is chugging beers with hockey players as the FBI director, there is nothing being done. And even with the Somali fraud thing that happened this past year, the Somali fraud craziness that happened, who was the one who uncovered it and made it national news and even international news? It was a YouTuber. It was Nick Shirley. And it wasn't the FBI director. And it was after Nick Shirley said something, the FBI director said, oh, actually, we've been investigating this for a while. Here, I'm not saying, and here's another nuanced take. Here's another nuanced take. That I believe also that the public, they typically, in general, cannot handle confidential information well. They can't. I believe politics is not for the masses. That's why I'm against democracy. I'm against mass voting rights. And so yes, like a lot of the Epstein files, and you saw even with the attempted assassin 2 nights ago who went to Mar-a-Lago, he was someone who was radicalized by the Epstein files and obsessed with it. So there can come a point when you have an unhealthy obsession with the Epstein files and then you read into something that doesn't exist or read into something that's not there. And most of the public doesn't know how to process or filter information properly. They don't. And so there's my nuanced take there. But at the same time, there needs to be a certain level and degree of transparency where the American people deserve to know what happened on that island, what happened with Jeffrey Epstein and all of these billionaires. Because most Americans, if not all, thanks Mr. Spike. What's up? Thanks for the follow, Spalk. Most Americans don't want to be ruled by satanic pedophile billionaires. We don't. We want to live in a morally just and righteous, orderly, good society where we can trust our leaders. We can trust those who are leading society, those who are most powerful in society. I want to live in a society, in a country where we can trust our elite class. But we can't. And unless we have transparency, unless there's a crackdown of this issue and of these people, Americans will never be able to have that trust in their elite class and in our institutions, and we'll never be able to repair that. Never. And so that's my whole gripe with this whole controversy. Oh, Kongman, you must be fun at parties. Why are you such a Debbie Downer? Oh, you're such a party pooper. Oh my gosh, dude. Like, I'm gonna say this too. There are a lot of people on the right who are also retarded when it comes to these kind of things, where they literally don't understand nuance. And I'm not one of those guys like, oh, like you gotta be nuanced to be a fence sitter. Like, I am saying my position is not that he can't chug it up with the boys. That's why I said, hey, before you do so, we want to see some arrests for the files, and we want to see a crackdown on left-wing extremism and violence in our country. Oh, you're such a party pooper. Can't a man? What's the big deal if a bro just hangs out? The deal is, he is the FBI director. He is not just some other dude. He is the director of the FBI, the most powerful domestic law enforcement agency in this country, and he is just sitting on his hands. Actually, no, he's not sitting on his hand. He's vacationing, and he's having a good time. He's partying it up, going on podcast tours. So I'm not sorry for what I've said, and we should demand more of our politicians and those in office in our 3-letter agencies. Just because he's on our side doesn't mean that he is above reproach. The same thing with Trump. I don't get this. I love Trump, but I will criticize Trump when I need to. This is why I piss off like the people who hate Trump, and I piss off the people who love Trump. Because I criticize Trump when I think it's valid, but I love Trump. And they're like, oh, you're so unloyal to Trump. What do you mean? I voted for him twice. I support him when I can. I stick up for him. I defend him all the time. I openly say how much I like Trump, but doesn't mean that he is above reproach and there's no reason why we can't criticize him. He is also a politician. Believe it or not, he is the president of the United States. Oh, you're so unloyal to Trump. God forbid we criticize those in government. Ghost, you keep saying he was vacationing when he wasn't. I mean, that's debatable. That's debatable if he was vacationing or not. My point is not the vacation itself. Again, people are missing the forest for the trees, and you're just stuck in the weeds. That's not my argument. My argument is, if you're gonna go and have a good time in Italy, there's nothing wrong with that. You're human. You deserve also to have rest and have a good time, to be able to vacation. But the thing is, you're the FBI director. And the same thing with Dan Bongino. Dan Bongino talked a big talk. He went into the FBI, became the deputy director of the FBI. What did he do? He talked a big talk and he left doing nothing. So that's my nuance. That's my thoughts on the Kash Patel thing. What do you guys think? Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the comment section. I don't, like, I think this is a controversy that's overblown. When I first commented, I didn't actually think it would be a controversy. I was just like posting like, oh, like, bro, like, do your job. So those are my thoughts. In summary, yes, I don't think it's wrong for him to celebrate with the ice hockey team. That's fine. Bros be bros. That's fine. But the thing is, I would have no problem with that if you were actually doing your job. And it seems like you're just sitting on your hands and there hasn't been any reassurance from the FBI, from you, Kash Patel, that you are actively going after these criminal networks that are destroying Americans, that are putting American conservatives and American patriots in harm's way. Because clearly, we see the assassination attempts ratchet up more and more and more. You would think that after the death of Charlie Kirk, the assassination of Charlie Kirk, the FBI would ramp up and really crack down on these left-wing violent terrorist networks. Nothing's being done. Like, truly. And yes, you might say, oh, but look, they arrested this person. Something's being done. Okay, but it's not substantial enough in order to protect American civilians. And again, I'm not saying it's going to happen overnight. I know these things take time, but there is not a degree of assurance or there is not a level of urgency, it seems like, from Kash Patel and the FBI. So I'm not sorry for criticizing our elected officials and people in government for not doing a good enough job. There's nothing wrong with that. And if you call me a sellout, you call me disloyal for expressing these concerns, then I question your motives, because what is your priority here? What is your priority? Is it just politicking and tribalism and tribal warfare? And I'm not saying I'm against tribalism. We need tribalism in order to win. We want to win against their side. What I'm saying is, like, there is an end goal that we desire for our elected officials. And it's that we protect Americans, we preserve America for its descendants and its posterity. We bring Christ back into America, into the public square, into the government. This is why, Pete Hegseth, I love that guy. That guy's great. And I always commend him for praising the name of Jesus wherever he goes, whatever he does as the Secretary of War. But when the administration is not doing enough, or the administration is, working against the interests of the American people, it is fine to chimp out. It is fine. It is truly fine. And again, nuance, I've said this too, and like, Trump is stifled by a feckless GOP and a Supreme Court that appeals to vague abstractions of jurisprudence and precedent that makes them have poor court rulings, and these district judges. So I get it. Like, there's the whole system's working against Trump and his agenda. But I can have that nuance, and I understand that, while also saying, hey, you need to do more. So that's my point. Hopefully that's clear. If you're still mad at me about Kash Patel, whatever, I simply do not care, because you're missing the point. You're missing the point. And I'll have you know, I am pretty much the life of the party, all right? When I go to parties, I have a good time. People have a good time with me. I like having fun. I'm a chill guy. I'm not always cranky. But with things like Epstein, I do think I take that very seriously. I do.